What's up, Dolphins fans? Welcome into Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Nic Rohloff, where we are here live following Thursday Night Football. Dolphins obviously lost in Buffalo, 31-21. Not a good game. Ended very poorly after the Dolphins battled for most of the night. The Tua pick obviously is the headliner. Zach Sieler roughing the punter. Just a lot of dumb mistakes in the fourth quarter, which ultimately cost Miami in a game that they wouldn't say easily, but could have won. I mean, they were right there with the Bills in Buffalo in the fourth quarter, tied at 21, about to get the ball back, but then roughing the punter. Down 7, driving in the red zone, under 4 to play. Interception. It's like, when you really look back at it, I'm just still so upset about how that game unfolded. But we're here the day after on a lunch kind of edition of Dolphins Today, where we're going to talk through a lot of the things and rehash what potentially went wrong. But listen, we didn't get a push notification on this live show. Tough luck. We need to get the vibe to YouTube that we're live. So help me out. Spam where you're watching from. Giving shout outs, but we need the comment section to get flowing to tell YouTube we're live so more people are able to join us. We got Yams in Phoenix, Arizona. What's up, Julio? We got Leo Murphy in South Carolina. Arnold saying bad loss. I mean, I expected a loss, but it certainly is a bad one with how the game actually played out. What's up, Magallo? How you doing? Emmanuel says he's watching from the Bahamas. John is in Corpus Christi, Texas. How far is Corpus Christi?
It's about 5 hours away.
Okay.
It's down there on the Gulf. It's, yeah, I would say 5 hours.
Is it like, give me, like, Houston's like right there south of us.
Dallas is here, Houston's here, Corpus is here.
So a little bit closer to little tail.
Yes.
Little tail.
Yes.
All right. Magallo's watching from Paris, California. Julio says start the rookie. I think you were referring to Quinn Ewers.
I'm in.
Not going to happen.
Come on, Julio.
Not going to happen. Listen, I understand. I have been on a full 180 turn on my opinion and stance on Tua, because I was someone who defended him a little bit. I was someone who recognized how well the Dolphins have played with Tua on the field, but it's hard not to look at what has transpired over the past 2 years and come to the realization that this guy is no longer the same player that we knew in 2022 and 2023. He just plays differently. The Dolphins don't have as much success. And even with all of that being said, all of the negativity with me and others surrounding Tua right now, I just have a hard time at this point saying, yes, bench him, start Quinn Ewers or Zach Wilson. Because here's the thing. If you bench Tua, that is done. You can't go back to him. You bench him with his contract and how he's a veteran, you can't go back to him at a starter.
It's over if you bench him.
So if you are going to move off of Tua, you might as well just release him and take the dead cap hit. To me, benching him solves nothing. Like, it's not like he's going to come back and play better after being benched for a couple games like a young player would be. That's not how it works.
And they're also not going to take that dead cap hit either, because it's an exorbitant amount of money.
Right. So it's like, I don't think it's going to happen. It's not realistic. The only way Quinn Ewers would ever start a game is if Miami ultimately traded to or cut him. But I don't know who would want to trade for him, and I don't think the Dolphins are going to cut him because of that massive dead cap hit. All right, how angry are you after the loss last night? Scale it 1 to 10. You see me, I'm at an 11.
You were extremely angry. I don't know if I've ever seen you that angry.
I was hot this morning, man. I was hot. I went to, we left the office. I was like, okay, whatever. We lost. Woke up, a little groggy, drinking my coffee, having my protein bar, watching some of the All-22 film, looking through the PFF grades, the snap percentages, and then I just got angry again. And I was ready to fight someone.
And you were hot after last week's game as well, but I feel like this one, I don't know. And that compounded with the Miami Heat news. It's been a bad morning for you.
This morning wasn't great between the loss with the Dolphins, and I am a diehard Heat fan. We cover them here if you're a Heat fan too. The Heat Report by Chat Sports. Listen, I will admit right now that I am a bigger Heat fan than a Dolphins fan. There's no question about that. And man, to see Tyler Hero miss the start of the year with a foot injury, that really set me off.
Yeah.
That was actually the moment where I was already very upset over the loss last night and the performance and how the season has started for Miami. But then you have the Tyler Hero injury news, and I just lost it.
You did. You were an angry person.
It was the final domino for me. It really was. Crazy Finn saying 3, Yams going 8, Arnold going 10, Emmanuel going 10. Crazy said I didn't expect enough to get angry. See, I didn't expect anything. I was telling Coop this last night. I mean, I really enjoyed the Dolphins putting up a fight and making it a close game for entertainment and our stream performance last night, for sure. But I told them I actually think it would have been better if it was just a 35-7 blowout and the Band-Aid was ripped off in the first half and I didn't have to get my hopes up that the Dolphins could pull off the upset in the second half.
Going into it, you obviously didn't expect to win, but once you're there, it's a tie ball game in the fourth quarter.
That's exactly
and you have a chance to win, and it's,
I mean, I don't know if any of you guys play golf, but I compare to this, like, you could be a 35 handicap. You're like, all right, I'll just be happy with breaking 100. And then you get to the final 3 holes, and you're like, oh, shit, if I just bogey, I shoot an 89.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, I went triple, double. I shot a 94. But you told yourself coming into the game, oh, shot sub 100, I'm happy. But you're furious because you had a chance to shoot a sub 90s. The same thing with us. I went into it thinking we were going to lose by 20, but we had a chance to win late. So I was furious that we couldn't get it done because it easily could have been done.
No doubt.
So, even though the expectations were low, we were in a position to get the win on the road, something you haven't done since 2017 in Buffalo, and you couldn't happen, man. It drives me up a wall. Julio saying 20. I'm with you, Julio. I am. This is a fun question as well. I don't know if I have an answer for you, Coop. Who is the best player on the Miami Dolphins?
Jake Bailey.
No. I am.
Is it fair to say Aaron Brewer through 2 games?
Aaron Brewer was the highest graded player on Pro Football Focus in last night's game for Miami.
I actually think the real answer is Devon Achane or Jalen Waddle.
Coming into the year, I would have confidently told you Zach Sieler was the best player on the Dolphins because he was the best player last year, back-to-back seasons with 10 sacks, defensive captain, got paid. But Sieler has been horrific in 3 games. He has been non-existent, has the costly penalty in the fourth quarter yesterday, and I don't know if I can answer that. You know what my answer might actually be? Devon Achane is certainly in consideration. I am dangerously close to saying, Coop, Patrick Paul might be my number 1 guy.
He was certainly in consideration. I mean, and you know what? The fact that you're not saying a skill position guy and you're saying an offensive lineman, I think that's an indictment on the team.
Well, I mean, listen, I think Tyreek Hill's been actually phenomenal.
Tyreek Hill's been very good,
Outside of the drop on the 500 ball Tua threw yesterday, I think he's been really, really good. And his play consistently shows up on tape. He's creating separation. He's getting open. And either Tua is missing him or the protection is breaking down before Tua can get back to Tyreek down the football field. So Tyreek's been really, really good. But I'll be honest, there has not been a more consistent player for the Miami Dolphins through 3 weeks than Patrick Paul. I think his numbers are phenomenal. I think that when you watch his tape, his center of gravity, his power, his ability to protect has been really good as well. I think Patrick Paul has been great. I mean, we played this game yesterday on the stream that this team has been so disappointing. I don't know if you had to only keep 7 players.
I don't know if you could
going
get to
from
7.
This roster to next year's roster. Who would be the 7 players? My 7 I named last night, Coop, was Patrick Paul, Achane, Waddle, Aaron Brewer. Who else did I name? I named the 2 offensive linemen, Brewer, Paul, Achane, Waddle, Chop, Kenneth Grant. Who was the 7th?
Jordan Phillips?
No. Malik Washington. I said Malik Washington. Malik. So it's like, man, if we're having that conversation, like, it's not great. It's not great. And sure, there's been a couple veterans, like Tyreek, veteran, good player.
Not going to be on the
good.
team.
Bradley Chubb has 3 sacks through 3 weeks, although he really hasn't been, like, unbelievable in terms of getting pressure consistently. He's more or less just had 1 good play in each game. It's good to see him play well, but it's not like I'm pounding my fist on the table and need to keep him for next year.
What about Ollie?
Ollie's been great, but I'm not. If you're only allowed 7 players, you're not keeping 2 running.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it would be a numbers game at that point. It would be a numbers game. All right, we got a loaded show here on Dolphins Today. Hit that thumbs up icon. We got 75 people watching. We got only 30 or 14 likes. We need to get 35 likes right now to get the stream started. Obviously, we're streaming, but get our show started. We have 3 segments to do. The first segment is that I'm more angry after last night's loss, and I'll tell you why I'm more angry. Second one, Tua Tagovailoa, more evidence that he is not a franchise quarterback for the Dolphins. I alluded to it in our Friday morning video, overreactions, rumors, but I have more to say on the matter. And then we will also be doing a Dolphins Q&A, but we're going to need questions from you guys. So use hashtag Dolphins Super Chat to ask a question, get on the mailbag, start getting those questions in. I would say we need probably 8 to do a mailbag. So we need questions.
Ask your questions, use hashtag Dolphins, and then hashtag Dolphins. Should the Dolphins cut Tua? Hashtag Dolphins. Should Mike McDaniel be fired?
Good examples. So start piling those questions in here. I know a lot of people want to get integrated into the show. Super chats will get yourself on screen, but hashtag Dolphins and our mailbags are another way to do that. So listen, we should see some questions filing in right now. But we do need to get to 35 likes. So hit that thumbs up icon. We're at 22. Once we get to 35 likes, we're starting the show.
Come on now. Creative, appreciate you.
Oh, Tua is great. Ooh.
What?
He says Tua is great. I don't know if that's the case.
I don't know if Tua is great.
Certainly not.
For how much he gets paid, juice not worth the squeeze.
I agree. Yeah, Mark Smith, I don't disagree. We need 10 more likes. Hit that thumbs up icon.
J-Bo, copy and paste that and then add hashtag Dolphins at the end of it, and we'll put that one on the mailbag.
Yeah, I mean, if people are asking questions a ton, but you're not using hashtag Dolphins, we need to get those actually with hashtag Dolphins so our software can pick it up and get it on the show. Like Eduardo, that with hashtag Dolphins would be able to get on a mailbag. You guys got to use hashtag Dolphins. I don't think it's that hard to do.
Bench him. I agree with Eduardo.
Like, I'm seeing comments and good questions, but none of them are using hashtag Dolphins. It's not that hard, folks. Just add hashtag Dolphins to the end of it, and you guys can get on a show.
We can feature you.
We're also 3 likes away from getting the show started. So hit that thumbs up icon.
There we go.
Bang!
There
Jabba.
we go.
Attaboy, J-Bo.
Mark says, do you mean the number sign? Just kidding. Yes, the pound sign, as they call it.
Hashtag, pound, number sign, whatever you want to say.
All right. Are you ready to relive this?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's relive
Therapy
the brutal,
session.
brutal loss. Let's relive the brutal, brutal loss. Oh, goodness gracious. Second goes Prize Picks, Mando, Prize Picks. All right, Coop. When you're ready, let's relive the horrors that was last night. The loss to the Buffalo Bills on Thursday night in Week 3 is even more annoying and infuriating 24 hours later. Because when you really look back on the game, Miami had a chance to pull off the upset. They were tied 21-21, 10 minutes to go in the fourth. Your defense just got 3 straight stops. You were about to get the ball back to Tua, who on the previous drive led a touchdown drive to tie the game up at 21. But you blew it. And there is so many bad things happening on the offensive line and on special teams that I wanted to talk about, and I think you guys will be with me in terms of the infuriating, disgusting levels that we should feel. And it all starts with the Zach Sieler roughing the punter. Now, could you make the argument that it was running into and not roughing, and it should have been a 5-yard penalty, 4th and 2, rather than a first down and 15 yards? Sure. But you can't put yourself in that position. And when Mike McDaniel was asked about it after the game, Mike said that the intent on the roughing the punter was not to actually block the punt. It was to speed up the punter's process with a bull rush, so he didn't have enough time to think and potentially pin the Dolphins deep. So you're trying to tell me that we weren't trying to block the punt, and this idiot, who is supposed to be a captain, your defensive leader, went for the punt block anyway? That is incompetence on a level that I don't think we have seen in a very long time. And I'm laughing because Coop is laughing behind me here. It's ridiculous. But seriously, how can you have this happen? More coming here in a second, but make sure you do have your notifications turned on. We've had a lot new people subscribe and join the channel, and our notification percentage has actually gone down to 13.8%. I want to make sure you never miss a video we put out because we go live 3 times a week, game day, day after games, and usual Thursdays, as well as put out 2 videos every day. Subscribe, make sure you have your notifications turned on. The reason why that quote from McDaniel drives me up a wall a little bit here is because look at the formation that Miami had. They had 8 people at the line of scrimmage. You had 1 gunner down here, 1 gunner up here, and then obviously you had Malik Washington back to return the punt potentially. So you had 8 people on the line of scrimmage. And you're supposed to tell me that they're not going for a punt block here? No. They're going for a punt block. But why is that even the case? The Dolphins defense is so bad. You should thank the heavens in a tied bowl game 21-all in the fourth quarter, you got to stop and just focus on getting the ball back. I could not have given 2 shits if the Dolphins started that drive at the 1-yard line. I would have just been happy they had the ball in the fourth quarter, tied in Buffalo against the Bills. Like, it just doesn't make sense into why you would have done that. And even if you weren't trying to block it and you were saying, hey, guys, just generate pressure up front, but don't go for the actual block. Zach did it anyway, which is the incredibly frustrating part because he, once again, is a captain and supposed to be your best defensive player and leader. And he cost you the game. There are a lot of reasons you lost, but among the most and the top of it is Zach Sieler making that boneheaded play. Absolutely infuriating. But the offensive line play is also extremely frustrating from the Dolphins fans' perspectives. And Miami actually did something that I did not pick up in live time until really late in this game. They made a switch at right guard. Obviously, with James Daniels being out, Kion Smith was the one who replaced Daniels in week 1. And then Kion Smith started and played all of week 2 against New England. Well, Kion Smith started week 3, but was benched in the game around the third quarter in the second half. After 36 snaps, Kion Smith plug pulled. They went with the veteran Daniel Brunskill at right guard, someone who has experience playing all 3 interior offensive line spots, left guard, center, and right guard. When asked about it, McDaniel said that there were matchup benefits he saw in replacing Kion Smith with Brunskill, but added he expects Smith to bounce back. I mean, it was a bold decision, and we'll see how the two players graded out in this game, but it was hard for me to really justify replacing Kion Smith, considering I don't think the offensive line was having that bad of a game. And I don't think they're the reason Miami lost yesterday. And I didn't think they were the reason in week 2 either. I think the offensive line hasn't been great, but I don't think it's been absolutely horrific like we've seen other position groups. But I want to get your thoughts. How angry are you after the loss last night? I'm at an 11. Scale your anger level 1 to 10. Let me know. But here's how the right guard comparison ultimately played out. Smith, like we just mentioned, 36 snaps, Brunskill, 25. Now, Kion Smith's grades are terrible. They're horrible. 24.1 overall, 26.7 run block. But he was better in pass protection than Brunskill. No pressures. 1 penalty in the first half on an illegal man downfield. Meanwhile, Brunskill was graded out better in terms of run blocking and overall. But he did allow 2 pressures. He was not penalized. The point is, both of them are not good football players. And the fact that you're having to decide between Brunskill and Kion Smith in week 3 is not ideal. It just isn't. And it was clear that when Mike McDaniel says post-game that he was eyeing a matchup-driven switch, it was clearly because the Dolphins wanted to run the football much better in the third quarter and fourth quarter than they did mid first half, early second half. And Brunskill was better in run blocking situations than Kion Smith, but Smith was better in pass blocking situations. And I wanted to highlight this because this is as bad as it gets from Daniel Brunskill. This is the play where Tua throws the interception. The ball was just snapped. The Dolphins had the ball at the 20-yard line. Want to notice something here? Not a single pass catcher. Waddle, Connor, Tyreek, Malik Washington. None of them have crossed the line of scrimmage. Tua just caught the ball and is looking to his right. But take a look at right guard. Brunskill is already beat. Once again, the pass catchers for Miami did not even cross the line of scrimmage, and Daniel Brunskill already is beat. And it's not like he's getting beat like Jonah Savaiinaea did on a bull rush. No, it is a swim move. He's already past Brunskill. How is that possible? I'll also point out, if you watch the actual play in video back over, which we can't show due to copyright, just in case you were wondering, I think Daniel Brunskill might have thought this play was a run. Why do I ask that? Coop, show the photo again if we can one time. Because if you look across the offensive line, what is a common theme? Larry Borum is already about 3 yards back from the line of scrimmage. Aaron Brewer is about 2 yards back. Paul is about 2 yards back. Savaiinaea is 3 yards back. Where is Brunskill? He is a half a yard back, already at the line of scrimmage. I mean, I'm not getting a 3-point stance here, folks, But when when the ball snapped, instead of a normal pass protection play where you take a quick step back to prepare for the pass rush, he goes forward like it's a run, like he's going out and meeting him. Why on earth, in a pass play, which is not a play action, a straight drop back snap, why is Brunskill lunging forward? Him lunging forward caused him to absolutely get swiped and beat instantly by Deion Walker, the rookie behemoth of a man who ended up generating pressure on that throw and actually on replay might have got his hand on that Tua pass, slightly shifting its direction. Granted, it would not have mattered. It would have been jumped and intercepted anyway. But the point remains, what the hell is Daniel Brunskill doing? More coming here in a second, but this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day. Well, the right decisions on Prize Picks can get you paid where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is so simple. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks offers injury reboots. If one of your players leave the game in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. I have an entry in for Week 3 this upcoming Sunday. More than Ramondre Stevenson, 40.5 rushing yards. That Steelers defense is bad, folks. And I'm going less than Ashton Jeanty, 13.5 receiving yards. Maybe I'm getting got here, but in the first 2 weeks of his career, 1 yard and 2 yards receiving respectively. I don't think he'll get 14. Pair that up with the max discount Patrick Mahomes half a passing yard, and you got yourself a 3-player entry. Take advantage of that max discount by downloading the app. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. I am not blaming the O-line for the game yesterday. And I want this to be clear because I've been very harsh on Brunskill, been very harsh on Kion Smith, and I'm going to be very harsh on Jonah Savaiinaea coming up here in just 1 second. They are not to blame for this game. But man, in that situation, in that moment, you cannot be beat within a tenth of a second of the ball being snapped. That is just impossible stuff. Cannot happen. And like I said last week in Week 2, the offensive line isn't to blame in that game. But when it mattered late in the final couple of plays in that fourth quarter, when the Dolphins were trying to drive and take the lead, the offensive line got beat by Milton Williams, beat by Harold Landry, beat by Christian Barmore. So it's like the O-line holds up for 3 quarters and a half, and then you get to the final 5-6 minutes of the game, and then they just get beat consistently and instantly. That's annoying. Let's transition over to Jonah Savaiinaea because he might be worse than Liam Eichenberg. I'm being serious. This guy is absolutely horrible in the first 3 weeks of the year. And I know a lot of people are going to come at me, and they already have on social media, about he's a rookie. You're expecting him to be an all-pro. No, I'm not. I'm just not expecting you to be the worst offensive lineman in football. And through 2 weeks of the regular season, he was the worst graded offensive lineman in the NFL. And I promise you what, folks, after his Week 3 performance, he'll still be dead last in the National Football League after the first 3 weeks. Guys, he had a pass blocking grade of 0.0 again. That's the second straight week. He allowed 5 charted pressures and was penalized on an illegal man downfield on a play where they got the ball to Julian Hill on 2nd and 12, where they actually picked up 13 in the first down. Excuse me. How do you have back-to-back weeks of a 0.0 pass blocking grade? I actually would love to have a conversation with Pro Football Focus on how they decide how grades are given out, because no matter how bad Jonah was, and he was bad, it does feel a little bit unrealistic to give someone a 0. Like, you'd have to lose every single pass block rep. I don't think he did that. I haven't watched every single play. I've watched some and most of the all-22 at this point, but I haven't watched every single offensive play. I don't think he got beat on every pass in drop-back situation, but I just don't know how that's possible. And for it to happen in back-to-back weeks, it's bad. It is really, really bad. Are you nervous? Are you worried about Jonah Savaiinaea? Type Y for yes or type N for no. I mean, I think it would be naive to answer no. I had to be honest. You have to be concerned. And I said it last week. I'll say it again. Yes, it's only been 3 games of his career. And it's hard to judge him fully just on 3 games. But when he has been this bad on tape and this bad charted out by Pro Football Focus, you can't really feel positive feelings on Jonah Savaiinaea to this point. And I'll say this, at this point, I think Jonah is a below average run blocking offensive guard, and that's what he specialized in at Arizona when he split time at offensive tackle and guard. But man, his ability to block in pass situations has been so bad. You can't pull the plug this early because he is a starter, and you don't really have a better option unless you wanted to go to former first-round pick Cole Strange. But goodness gracious, if this continues, I don't know how much longer we can trot him out there. I really, really don't. I might consider moving him back out to right tackle where he played a couple years at Arizona, especially if Austin Jackson continues to be on the injured list. You got to consider it. You have to. Because he can't handle the physicality and pure strength of some of these elite defensive linemen on the interior right now. Can't do it. All right, the final thing that drives me up a wall from last night's game, I tweeted out on Friday morning. Chop Robinson played just 22 snaps last night. The defense was on the field for 61 snaps, so he barely played a third of them. And I get it. I know he is dealing with a knee injury, and he was questionable for this game to begin with. But without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, Chop Robinson has been the biggest disappointment. You rank the biggest disappointments for the Dolphins season this year in the first 3 weeks where they're 0-3. Number 1 is Chop Robinson being a no-show. Number 2 is Jonah Savaiinaea being a bust. Number 3 is James Daniels and Austin Jackson getting hurt basically instantly as the season begins. And you could go on with the list on and on and on. But those are the 3. The top 3 without a question, in my opinion. I don't know if last half of the year was a fluke. I don't know if he's playing hurt. I don't know if it's not getting enough snaps because he really has not logged 50% of the snaps in any of the games. And if he has, it's been just about 50%. And I get it. They're trying to rotate him, Judon, Phillips, and Chubb to keep them fresh and healthy throughout the year. But man, can we see something from our second-year edge rusher who all of us thought was on the verge of being elite? I don't know, man. Disappointing. All right, that'll do it for today's episode. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us here on this episode. Subscribe if you have not already because we're going to continue to bring you daily content live 3 times a week as well. So if you want everything and anything on the Dolphins, subscribe today. Man, you gave someone that band hammer. What are they doing?
Yeah, they were just chatting shit, so I decided to ban them.
What did they say?
They were just saying just some outlandish shit, like they were calling you a fake fan, and I just don't stand for that. They deserved it. And he was spamming, so I decided to ban him. If I was wrong for that, I'm sorry.
I'm just looking at the. Oh yeah, he started speaking fake fan.
I just operate on respect on this channel.
I just wanted to see him. He goes, people don't realize how brutal training camp in preseason was. We likely had the toughest camp of any team in the league. These boys were drained week 1. Also, nearly all secondary defense. I mean, this guy is a clueless mother effer.
I mean, you see what I'm saying?
I mean, how can you make the excuse that we've had the most brutal training camp in preseason? The boys were drained for week 1. That is coping and trying to find like a reason to bail these guys out for playing bad like I have never seen before.
No, it's embarrassing.
I've never seen anything like that. Mog says, shout out Joey Peterson, flock in the building. I don't know how the two relate, but shout out to
Joey.
You. And shout out to Joey.
Joey's my guy.
Shout out to you. Joey Peterson is our guy. We love Joey P around here. We love Joey P. Where are we at on questions, Coop?
You know what? We have a decent amount. We could use about 5-ish more, though.
So how many do we have?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We have 6 questions. Are they solid questions? Where would you rate them?
I would give them a solid 6.7.
Okay. Well, let's get more questions in there. There's still 80 people watching. We're about to get into another segment here about Tua Tagovailoa. But before we do that, I want to get a couple more questions. We're going to do a mailbag after this upcoming segment. So if you want to get featured on an episode of Dolphins Today and ask a question, use hashtag Dolphins or Super Chat. Great question here by James Curtis.
Great question by Brown Eye as well.
Brown Eye with a great question, but you got to have that comment and then use hashtag Dolphins in it.
I love that, Moggs. That's a good
Moggs, great question. Well, I don't know if it's a great question, but it will get featured on the mailbag.
The Dolphins have their franchise QB on the roster.
Stop.
People are hating, man. What does he do, Rolly? Wins ball games.
Can't do it, man. Continue to get questions in there. We got a couple more, which is nice. We'll do another mailbag call here in just a moment after we finish this next segment. But with that, we'll probably be moving on to our Tua segment now and how I think there's just more and more evidence that this guy is not a franchise quarterback and that the Dolphins need to probably move on sooner rather than later, or at least in the the earliest possible date. The earliest possible date. Your guy is back under new account. Don't ban him just yet, Coop. Van Life DJ will allow you to stay. I think what you're saying is absolutely asinine and makes no effing sense, because how can you be drained before week 1 of an NFL season? That should be the time of the year where everybody's the most juiced up and ready to go because it's the first freaking week of the year.
I will ban him if he acts up.
But calling us fake fans, I mean, you've clearly never seen any of our live streams.
You should go back and watch the live stream yesterday.
You see how fired up we get? Like, come on, man. Come on. Don't take out your anger on us. He says that he didn't call us a fake fan. I saw you spam fake fans.
Unless this is a different person.
No, it is, because his comment's the exact same thing about brutal training camp. We saw you. I looked back. It said called fake fan.
DJ Live TV.
He says he's calling someone else a fake fan. Brown Eye, it's a good question. And yes, you did use hashtag there, but you have to do hashtag Dolphins.
On the Dolphins.
Like that. Like right there. Good thing is we still got about 13, 14 minutes.
We'll get your question on there.
Into that mailbag, so you have another opportunity to get that fixed. But all right, let's move into the next segment. Mr. Jeffrey Cooperstein. We have more evidence that this man right here, Tua Tagovailoa, despite his contract, despite where he got drafted just 6 years ago, is not a franchise quarterback, and Miami needs to start preparing to replace him sooner rather than later. I'm Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. But the 3 main reasons that he can't be the franchise quarterback moving forward. 1, he is unable to stay healthy for most of his games. 2, he crumbles late in games almost every single time. 3, he can't play well against 500 teams or better. And 4, I should say, he is very limited in what he can actually do on a football field. And I want to start by looking at his numbers late in games. We've shown this over the past 48 hours since the loss to Buffalo on Thursday night. After that late game interception, Tua is now 7 interceptions to 7 touchdowns in the final 5 minutes of a game where it is the Dolphins trailing by a score, whether it's 8 points or fewer. 1 possession game. 5 minutes to go in the fourth. 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions with a QB rating into the 70s. That, to me, is just so damning on Tua Tagovailoa. It is. And I would argue that the biggest thing that a franchise quarterback needs to do to make it feel like he is your leader, the face of the franchise, the quarterback that can lead you to a Super Bowl, which is the goal and point of playing these games, is to be able to make plays when the lights are the brightest and it's the biggest moments. What do we see consistently? Patrick Mahomes did it with 13 seconds down by 3 in a playoff game to get his team in field goal range. Josh Allen does it, and he did it in week 1 against the Ravens. We've seen Justin Herbert do it at times. We've seen Jalen Hurts do it. The franchise quarterbacks, the elite QBs in the league, the ones that can win a Super Bowl, have already won a Super Bowl. Make plays happen when they need to. And Tua is incapable of doing that. More coming up here in a second, but make sure you follow me over on Twitter/X for more on Miami sports, whether it's the Dolphins, whether it's the Heat. Fans of both teams, unfortunately, and I'll give you the content you need every single day at Nic_Rohloff. I wanted to take a look at his last 4 opportunities to come from behind. And we go back to last year, 2024, Week 15, game against the Houston Texans, where Miami, on a little bit of a winning streak late in the year, they go on the road and beat Houston, and they win a couple more games late. They go 9-8 and maybe are in the playoffs. Maybe 10-7 make the playoffs. Down 20-12. That's a typo on our end. 20-12. Minute 44 to go against the Houston Texans. First play goes deep for Tyreek Hill, intercepted by Derek Stingley. Then we come back to this year. Just last week, week 2, against the New England Patriots. Down 30-27. You get the ball with 7 minutes to go. Driving down the field. About 3 minutes to go. Intercepted on 4th down by Marte Mapu. Then, the Dolphins actually get the ball back. Defense gets a stop, forces a field goal. Down by 6. Minute 42 to go. You have a timeout. Turnover on downs. And then the game on Thursday. Down 28-21. Get the ball back with 7 minutes to go. You're driving, and with 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes to go, intercepted in the red zone. Franchise quarterbacks get it done late. And I think it is unrealistic to expect Tua or any quarterback, just say you throw up those 4 drive situations, to go a perfect 4 for 4. I think that is unrealistic. But the elites, the ones that can lead you to a Super Bowl, inspire a fan base, inspire your team, inspire your coaching staff, they're going 1 of 4, 2 or 4 at the worst. They are. And I think it just comes to a larger conversation on Tua, to be honest. I feel like he's lost all confidence. I think he has. You watched a quarterback in week 1 against Indianapolis who was scared, who was panicky in the pocket. He was. And I don't see him regaining that confidence either. I don't. It's just check down city, man. 22 completions for 146 yards. His average depth of target in this game was 5.7 yards. And you can just see in the passing chart. 1 attempt, 20 yards downfield. And it hung in the air and was a 500 ball. Now, you look at Josh Allen's passing chart from the game on Thursday night. His is actually worse than Tua's. He didn't go past 20 yards either. And he actually barely went past 10 yards. But the way Tua is progressing, it is just check down, check down, check down, check down. That's how it is. And how about this from NFL Insights on Thursday's game? 1 yard per completion in the air. It's the lowest mark of his career. He finished 3 of 10 for 35 yards and 1 touchdown on passes that traveled more than 10 yards down the field in the air. But, as we always talk about the O-line with Tua, he was protected. He added an average time to throw of 2.98. He was not sacked once, and he was only pressured 12 times. So what does that tell you? He had time to throw. He did not get sacked, and he still couldn't push the ball downfield. And that's really the moral of the story of this offense right now. This Dolphins pass attack, it does not go downfield. There is rarely any explosive plays. They tried one to Tyreek in week 3. He couldn't make the catch. I think he should have. Tua and Tyreek did connect on a deep ball in week 2, but you only have one explosive pass play this year so far. I just don't have a lot of confidence in number 1, man. I don't. Well, let me know your confidence level. What's your confidence level in Tua? 10 comments, scale of 1 to 10. Let me know your thoughts. And I wanted to revisit the A-dot here because it just further emphasizes how often Tua is checking the ball down. And this offense has become one of the least explosive offenses in football over the past 2 seasons, even though they were top 5 in explosiveness in 22 and 2023. Last year, amongst qualified quarterbacks that had 50% of the leading quarterback dropbacks, Tua ranked dead last, 26th in A-dot, 6.1. But you see his numbers in average depth of target through 3 weeks, 7, 8.2, 5.7. He is just not going down the football field. If you wanted to know the leader in A-dot this year, by the way, it is Jordan Love at 13.1. And yes, they've all played only 2 games. The 2 was 3 at this point. But the point remains, 2 through 3 weeks, his average A-dot is 6.9 yards. That is almost less than half. Just over 50% of Jordan Love's A-dot. And there are only 5 quarterbacks entering Sunday, week 3, that has a lower A-dot than Tua. Surprisingly, Jared Goff. The other 4 don't surprise me, though. Bo Nix stinks, by the way. Just bad. Joe Flacco, Jalen Hurts. That's been a major talking point. And the veteran Aaron Rodgers. I think Jared Goff's the only one that surprises me because they do push the ball downfield quite a bit with Jameson Williams and company. But, man, it doesn't surprise me that these 4 bums have left A-dot than Tua. The point just continues that without the explosive plays, without the ability to push the ball downfield, it's going to be hard for this offense to consistently move the football against good defenses. I mean, listen, the Dolphins scored 3 touchdowns. They scored 21 against the Bills. I would consider that a disappointment because I don't think that Bills defense is good. I would expect Miami to be able to get 4 touchdowns or at least to 28 points. 27 points should have been the bare minimum against Buffalo. Couldn't get it done. More coming here in a second, but we are sponsored by Mando. Fall's here. Crisp air, football, maybe even a bonfire or 2. But if you're like most guys, you're still putting in hard work. And yeah, that means sweat. Don't let body odor sideline you. Mando deodorant plus sweat control is for real working guys. Clinical strength sweat control, 1 swipe, and you're good to go. It controls both sweat and odor for 72 hours. And after just 12 hours, underarm sweat was reduced by 92%. This stuff works. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. One of my favorite items in that little starter pack is the deodorant wipes. I'm always on the go, whether I'm traveling, running errands, playing golf, playing basketball, going on a road trip, flying to visit my girlfriend. Does not matter. These things always come with me because if I need a quick freshen up on the go, the deodorant wipes are perfect. And I love them. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code CHAT. use code CHAT at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. As we continue the conversation on Tua, I wanted to share a quote from Kurt Warner, a veteran, a legend. And I got to be honest, Kurt Warner has come to the defense of Tua, I think, quite a bit. He actually did a breakdown of the Tua interception in that fourth quarter against the Bills, and he did not put all of the blame on Tua. But this quote to me is just so damning on Tua and why I think he should be moved off of sooner rather than later, and he's not a franchise quarterback. Kurt Warner said on Twitter, if he has a QB that can play, I will take one interception a game because they are not afraid to attack down the field and threaten the defense over one who doesn't throw any and lives in the check down world. One scares the D every snap, has them on their heels, and leaves them hoping they get the one mistake. The other has the D licking their chops, playing downhill and attacking every throw. Well, what Kurt Warner just described is the complete opposite of Tua. Warner is fine having a quarterback that makes one mistake a game, throwing an interception, but is constantly challenging the defense, spacing them out vertically, which then will result in more opportunities underneath and more successful run plays. But the issue is that Tua is turning the ball over every single game. 2 interceptions week 1, 1 in week 2, 1 in week 3. And if you go back to last year at the end of the season, he turned the ball over a ton as well. So Tua is not pushing the ball downfield, but he turns the ball over every game. So it's the opposite of what Kurt Warner says and wants. Isn't that just awesome for Miami? Isn't it great? Our $50 million quarterback, first year, 4-year contract, is this garbage? It's awesome. I mean, 6.3 turnover-worthy play percentage. It's the third highest in the NFL. I mean, I think the one thing we could have said about Tua early on in his career, accurate, anticipatory, doesn't turn the ball over, doesn't put it in harm's way. But now, he's become inaccurate, check down Charlie, but turns the ball over and puts the ball in harm's way almost more than any other quarterback in the NFL. It just has been a snowball. It's been like an avalanche for Tua ever since that 2023 season. Plays 17 games. Ever since that season, it's just been a snowball into mediocrity in bad performances. Rounding out the show here in a second, but if you want free, informative coverage on the Miami Dolphins every single day, this is the channel for you. I won't hold it back. I'm going to give you my unfiltered thoughts and opinions and analysis every single day. Subscribe and join the family. Over 75,000 people have already subbed. Join us. I mean, the limitations on Tua are just so, obvious. And this isn't groundbreaking news to anyone. But when you go through everything we have already discussed on today's show to this point, but then you start to factor in how limited he is in terms of creating out of structure, his arm strength, and mental toughness, it is very hard to justify and defend him being the quarterback of this football team for much longer. And I actually think that this past Thursday night against Buffalo might have been one of his best games in terms of creating out of structure, specifically late in the second quarter when he delivered a couple plays out of the pocket on 3rd and long to create the opportunity for Miami to tie the game up going into halftime. But the one drive and a couple plays late aren't going to make me believe he is now back to creating out of structure. They're not. And it's like this quote just drives me up a wall. Tua, before the game this week in a press conference, asked about Josh Allen, said he's top tier. Definitely a different skill set for me. I can't do half of what he does when it comes to running the ball and with how he can just chuck a ball downfield. I understand that he is speaking nothing but the truth. I say that every single day. You guys understand that. The rest of the NFL understands it. But it's not about it being truthful. It's about you not absolutely glazing your opposing quarterback before a crucial Thursday night football game. It's also just giving like victim energy. Like, oh, I can't be as good as Josh Allen because I have an injury history and I don't have a strong arm. I can't do that type of stuff. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. And how about you start playing good football? Like, I used to think Tua was an awesome dude, a great leader for this team when he was in his first couple years in the league. When did this guy become so unlikable? The way he treats some of the people in the media, the way he deflects blame onto himself sometimes and criticizes his teammates and coaching staff. Like, this guy got paid last offseason before 2024, and he just turned into a whiny loser. It just is unfortunate. And I think most of you guys at home watching this stuff has been able to pick up on it as well. And a lot of us want to move off of Tua. I have fully joined that regime, if you will, of moving off Tua. But based on the contract, we're stuck with them. Because who is going to trade for Tua with that contract and his limitations? Who's going to do it? Not many, if anybody. And the Dolphins can't cut him unless Stephen Ross is fine with $99 million in dead cap, which I don't forecast he is, until after the 2026 season. So we're likely stuck with Tua for the rest of this season, which is no surprise, but next year as well. And I assume Miami will have a new GM and a head coach for 2026, which means they will start preparing to find Tua's replacement. But it is unfortunate that unless a miracle happens, Tua is the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins for the 2026 season, which is not great in my opinion. And I don't want it. All right, I'll do it for this episode of Dolphins Today. Like I mentioned earlier, continue to bring you daily content, 2 videos a day, weekly live shows. Subscribe and join the family. What is your confidence in Tua Tagovailoa on a scale of 1 to 10?
-4.
-4.
He stinks, dude. He blows. Like, I'm watching him through 3 weeks. I just can't do it anymore. I mean, I thought the team was marching down the field. They're at the 20-yard line. They have a chance to tie this game against the Buffalo Bills, who we would say is a consensus top 3 team in the NFL.
Top 5 without
top 5.
Consensus top 5 for sure.
And then he just goes and shits himself. Now, as part of that on the offensive line, sure, Daniel Brunskill allows pressure right in his face right away. But he has to do a better job of managing the situations. And he just doesn't do it. And you're right. He is like kind of just not a likable person right now.
I mean, he's unfortunately, like, the way he's been acting, which, by the way,
it's unacceptable.
It is. I don't know if you hit record or not on that. Oh, you're a legend.
Come on, dude.
Come on. Way to be hot on a Friday. Way to be hot on Friday. Way to be hot on that. MDW, what's up, my guy?
What up, MDW?
That's an Aqua Club member. Only Aqua Club member to join us here on a Friday afternoon. Appreciate you.
Man. Look. 3 of the next 4 games, Rolly, are extreme, or I would say all 4 of the next games are extremely winnable.
Not all 4. Did you say 3 or 4? Sorry.
I said all 4.
The Chargers is not a winnable game.
Not a winnable game. They cannot beat the Chargers.
I mean, maybe the Chiefs are just horrific and the Raiders aren't that good, and maybe that's why the Chargers look good. But you expect me to think this Dolphins offense is going to move the ball on the Chargers?
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. 3 of these next 4 games are extremely winnable games.
I mean, despite how bad the Dolphins have been in their 0-3, I would still say, unfortunately, maybe this is the biased fan in me, but I would still say they should beat the Jets at home next Monday. They should beat the Panthers on the road because that team's bad and they're without Robert Hunt. He's out for the year. And the Browns are absolutely
They're
terrible as
abysmal.
well. So it's like you can make the point where the Dolphins should win at least 3 of the next 4, and we're going into the final game before the trade deadline at the end of October, 3-4. To where a win on the road in Atlanta, which is not going to be easy, but you'll probably be like 5-point underdogs, I bet, in that game. You're like probably staring at a chance to be 500 at the deadline, which isn't season over if you can go 6-3 in your final 9. But then you also have to factor in you're playing the Ravens, Bills, and Commanders in 3 straight weeks.
Hey, Darren Waller's back. That'll be the difference in the offense.
Yeah. You're also having to go to New England in Week 18, to Tampa. Like, you got a lot of tough games in the final 2 months of the year.
Ridiculous.
How about this tweet from Barry Jackson? He was talking about the 2 extension and all the money to it. I want to read this tweet because I think it's funny to consider it in the total and like in world history. Updated cap numbers. Simply cutting him next spring triggers $99 million in dead cap, nearly 7 times what the U.S. paid to acquire all or parts of 15 states in the Louisiana Purchase.
Do you know how much it was?
$13 million.
Yeah, I believe it was like right around.
Yeah, you just had to do 99 divided by 7. Quick math.
Louisiana Purchase, the best deal of all time. In the history of the world, there's never been a better deal.
Barry Jackson says they paid $15 million to France to acquire parts of all these states.
Yep.
They said including inflation it'd be worth $420 million. If France were to sell off 15 states potentially, it would not be inflation $420 million.
It'd be
like
420 bill.
Yeah, like it'd be enough to. Wow, more heat juice. Brett Siegel says the Heat are considering parting ways with Rozier ahead of training camp.
Not a source.
No.
And they can't now.
Well, I guess they could waive him, and instead of signing a big man, they can go out and grab a veteran guard.
I guess.
I will say, as bad as it is, for the first month and a half of the year, you could probably survive with
Davion Point and Jovic.
Davion, Powell, Drew Smith, Yakachonis being your 4 guards.
Maybe.
You could probably.
You gotta
survive.
hope Yakachonis gets it going.
Yeah. All right, we got a mailbag coming up here in a second, but let's get some more questions.
We do have an adequate amount.
Coop says we're good, but if you want to get on the show, #Dolphins. At this point, with the fact that we're probably all solid in questions,
yes,
according to Mr. Coop, if you want to guarantee yourself a spot on this Dolphins mailbag, the only way to do it is by super chatting with a question in the text.
That is correct.
So that's the only way to guarantee it, but you can still use #Dolphins and take your chances. Mr. Cooperstein?
Let's do it.
Let's ride it, baby. We got a Miami Dolphins mailbag after the Thursday Night Football loss to the Buffalo Bills. I am Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. If you missed our live show we did on Friday, make sure you subscribe because we're live after every single Dolphins game day. We'll start off the mailbag with a question from my guy, Jabo. Do you think we are competing for a top 5 pick? Oh, absolutely. I mean, as we're currently filming this, the Dolphins technically have the number 1 pick in the draft. Now, that is because they are the only 0-3 team in football, because they're the only team outside of Buffalo to play 3 games this season. But based off where this year is heading, absolutely. Listen, this defense is, I would argue, the worst in football. The offense has had moments, but with injuries, the potential Tyreek Hill trade on the horizon, like, you just have to imagine that Miami will be picking in the top 10 this year. Now, things can change because over the next 4 weeks, you play the Jets at home, the Panthers on the road, the Chargers at home, and the Browns on the road. And there's a world that we live in where they go 3-1 in that stretch, beating the Jets, Browns and Panthers, losing to the Chargers, then you're 3-4. But I expect Miami to be at best a 5-win team at this point. I think that's a fair expectation. Even if you go 3-1 in the next 4, I don't think you're beating Atlanta on the road. And the only surefire game that I would say the Dolphins can and will win the rest of the year is against New Orleans coming out of the bye week in week 13? Week 13. Thanksgiving week. That's the only win that I have marked on the schedule. You have a tough end of the year. So, yeah, I think the Dolphins are a 3 to 6 win team. And if it's closer to the former and it's 3 wins, a 3-win team is picking top 5. 3-win teams in some year might be picking number 1. Now, this year there's a lot of bad teams, so maybe that's not the case. But I think the Dolphins will be very likely picking inside the top 6 or 7. Make sure you follow us over on Instagram. Dolphins Today IG is our handle. We are 55 followers away from 1,200. Help us out. Follow us for more short-form content, more posts, memes. We got you covered between our YouTube videos over on Instagram. My guy Megallo with a question. Do you think we should fire everyone? Oh, it's coming. It is coming, Megallo. The truth is, if the Dolphins season progresses the way I expect it to, like I just mentioned, 3 to 6 wins, Chris Grier fired. You'd have to hope to God Stephen Ross pulls the trigger, which I actually do think he will, after the season. In season, who knows, but out of the season in January, absolutely. Chris Grier gone. That means a new head coach, and it means a new regime. But if you're bringing in a new head coach and a new GM, that means you're going to get a complete overhaul at almost every level of the coaching staff. So probably a new special teams coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator. So by default, if you fire Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier in season or out of season, the entire Dolphins coaching staff will be different in the 2026 year. That's just the truth of the matter. We got a $2 super chat from Interspacer. Our software just absolutely gave us a little switcheroo. We're back. What could Mike McDaniel to save his job? Hashtag bench Tua. That isn't what he could do to save his job. The only way Mike McDaniel is coaching this team next year is if the Dolphins go 10-4 in the next 14 games, make the playoffs as a 10-win team. The only way. I mean, coming into the year, I said the only way Miami should have McDaniel and Grier as head coach GM duo in 2026 is if they make the playoffs. And I argued win a game because they've been unable to do so together in the last 4 years. And Chris Grier as a GM hasn't got a playoff win since 2016 when he became GM. So the only way that these two are still here next season, if this season miraculously turns around, they're a 10-win team, and they're in the playoffs. The NFL trade deadline is November 4th. The Dolphins are 0-3. They have 5 games before that deadline. Will Miami be sellers at the trade deadline? Type Y for yes or type N for no. I believe yes, which means we very well could see Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, and heck, even Jalen Phillips traded before November. Muggs, do you think y'all should go after Shedeur Sanders or a strong-arm quarterback in Joe Milton while y'all have Tyreek Hill? If not, who would you go for currently in the draft? Well, the first part of that question is if you made a trade for a quarterback in season. I do not forecast that because if the Miami Dolphins needed a quarterback and they went to go trade for one, I don't think that would even happen. I think they would just stick with who they have in terms of Quinn Ewers and Zach Wilson, who are on the active 53-man roster. And I actually will say this as well. I don't want Shedeur Sanders. I mean, what's the quote? Not my monkey, not my circus. I don't want to deal with it. And with the report that Shedeur might have said no to being drafted by the Ravens on day 3 because he has no world to ever start there, just goes back. Shedeur Sanders is in it for himself. He's not in it to win. He's not in it to have the name on the front of his jersey succeed. It's not for the back, dude. I don't want that as my quarterback. It would be a bad idea. Joe Milton sucks, dude. He's just absolutely atrocious. I mean, his numbers in the preseason were embarrassing. But if you want a brief list of names that I would be currently interested in in the NFL draft, assuming the Dolphins are picking top 10 and potentially going with a QB ski. John Mateer from Oklahoma, certainly under consideration. Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, under consideration. Lenore Sellers from South Carolina. Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. Drew Aller for Penn State. Those are the 5 names that I'm really keeping an eye on in 2026. The conversation would shift if you go to 2027, then DJ Lagway, Raiola, Julian Say, and Dante Moore, all starters, but unlikely to be in this year's draft, could be options. But if you're taking a QB, top 5 this year, which if, let's be real here, you're in the top 5 of the draft, you're probably starting to address quarterback. Those 4 you see on the left side of your screen, plus Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, are the 5 that are catching my eye in early/late December or September. I can get my months right. I can do it. I can also make the right decisions on Prize Picks where, listen, you and I make decisions every single day. With the right decisions, you can get paid. Prize Picks so simple to play. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks puts their users first. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Prize Picks invented the Flex Play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. Double your money even if one of your picks does not hit. I have an entry for the Week 3 action tomorrow. I'm going more than Ramondre Stevenson rushing yards. That Steelers' run defense is atrocious. Going less than Ashton Jeanty, 13.5 receiving yards. In his first 2 games, he's had 1 yard and 2 yards respectively. I'm supposed to believe he gets 14. I don't think so. And then I'm taking advantage of the max discount Sunday night football. Patrick Mahomes, half a passing yard. Take advantage of that max discount. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, Lua with a question here. Is it time to change QB? Been 6 years. He reached the ceiling. Let's see what we got in Ewers. Okay, 2-part question. Lua, I agree with you. It's time to change quarterbacks. Tua is not the QB1 of the future. He is not a franchise quarterback. I talked briefly about it on our Friday morning video right after the Week 3 loss. And I made a whole video Saturday morning saying how he is not the franchise quarterback, and it's clear that we should move off of him sooner rather than later. But the question and issue is, how do the Dolphins move off of him? Because his dead cap hit is $99 million if you cut him after this season. So I have a hard time believing that Stephen Ross is going to sign off on a $99 million dead cap. Just don't think it's going to happen. So unless you find a trade partner, Tua is going to be on this roster in 2026. And here's another thing. You can't bench him. Because if you bench him, one, his value in a trade just hits the absolute rock bottom of all rock bottoms. And if you bench him, you could never go back to him. First of all, Quinn Ewers would not be any better. I get it. You want to see what you have in the 7th round rookie. But it's not like he showed that much promise in the preseason games. There was reports that he was okay and solid against third stringers in the training camp and joint practices. But he didn't really show that much in the preseason. He was bad against the Bears. He was pretty bad against the Jags. He had a good 4th quarter against the Lions in Week 2. But the problem is it's hard to change quarterbacks in season with Tua's contract, the personality, and everything that would come alongside it. It's hard to do that. We're going to round out the mailbag coming up here in a second, but make sure you subscribe. Don't miss a thing on the Miami Dolphins. Daily videos every single day. Join the channel right now. I don't know how you'd want that pronounced. Do you think we could bounce back and win 3 in a row or more? No. 2? Yeah. 3? No. I mentioned a little bit earlier to start off the show, I do actually believe the Dolphins will win the next 2 games. At home against the Jets on a mini bye week from this Thursday night game, yeah, I think that's a win against the Jets. And then I probably think you go on the road and beat the Panthers because that Panthers team is very, very bad. But in week 6, you would return home to play the Los Angeles Chargers, and I just have a hard time believing you'd be able to beat them. They have a better defense than you. They have a better quarterback than you. They have better offense than you. They are better at everything than you. I am trying to think of something that the Dolphins are better in, and it's only running back, I think. They have the better quarterback. They have the better offensive line. They have the better, honestly, I think they have the better weapons. Quinn Johnson looks good this year, man. Johnston, Keenan Allen, McConkey, they've been good. They have a better defense, top to bottom as well. So I don't see a way they beat the Chargers. Yeah, it's in Miami, but I think it would have to take like an injury to a massive player on the Chargers. Or, I mean, listen, they hung tight against the Bills, but I am certainly not going to project the Dolphins to win against the Chargers. But with that being said, if they're able to, you'd think they'd be able to keep the momentum rolling with the game against the Browns, and maybe you win 4 in a row or 4 in 3. But I don't think they beat the Chargers. Who is the best player on the Miami Dolphins currently? It's a fascinating question. Before the year started, I would have answered Zach Sieler. Now I don't know. I got to be honest, I think my top 2 would either be Devon Achane, which is never a good sign when your best players are running back, and Patrick Paul, who's been maybe your most consistent, rock-solid player to this point. Those are my 2 guys that I have as my potential candidates. What's up, Ryan? Do you have Joe Brady as a possible head coach candidate? I do. I don't think he would be my top option. Heck, I don't think he would even be in my top 5, but he's certainly on my list. My initial list of head coach candidates for Miami are these guys. I think Cliff Kingsbury, Vance Joseph, Robert Saleh, Mike McCarthy, Ron Rivera, former head coaches in the NFL, make potential sense. Marcus Freeman, probably the best option at head coach currently at the collegiate level. But then if you wanted to go with the first-year head coach guys at the NFL level, Chris Shula, grandson of Don Shula, defensive coordinator for the Rams. Jesse Minter is an excellent defensive coordinator for the Chargers. Zach Orr, I love his ability to lead in Baltimore. Young, but he inspires and he leads that Baltimore defense. And then I've got Joe Brady as that Bills OC. But I do get concerned that Bills offense is more or less elite because of Josh Allen being, without a question, the best regular season quarterback in the NFL. So I would certainly be concerned with Joe Brady, but he's definitely on the list. And I would definitely interview him. I would definitely interview Joe Brady, but I don't think I'd have him in my top 5. My top 5, if you were to look at my list, I probably would put Marcus Freeman on that list. I would put Zach Orr from the Ravens on the list, Robert Saleh on the list. Those are my top 3. And then my top 2 to fill out the top 5 are probably, honestly, Jesse Minter from the Chargers, because I really like what he's done in the Los Angeles organization, and he's been under John Harbaugh for 3 straight years now when you go back to Michigan. And I would probably put Mike McCarthy to round out that list of 5 as well. Those would probably be my top 5. All right, that'll do it for today's episode. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Make sure you do follow us over on Instagram at Dolphins Today IG for more short-form content, Instagram posts. We got it all over there. That's the handle. Hopefully I see you over there. Woo!
Well done.
Well done indeed. Three segments live, done. 75 people watching. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us on a Friday afternoon. Usually we go live at like 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, or 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, day after games or Mondays. But Coop has a wedding to go to.
I do.
So we moved up the live a little bit earlier, which is not the biggest deal in the world, but listen, Coop does a lot of great work for us, so we got to accommodate the guy.
Appreciate you.
The guy is also just way more big time and high on the totem pole.
Now that's not true.
I mean, this guy's got people famous following him, hitting him up. I mean, the Coop Bats, man.
That's not true at all.
Coop Bats. Coop Bats. We still do got 70 people watching. We'll stay live if any super chats come in here in the next minute or two. I I know you didn't get on the mailbag, but Super Chat, ask a question, thought, comment, concern. If no Super Chats come in, we'll sign off, and we'll be live again on Monday, and we'll have videos going out in between now and then.
Game you're looking forward to most this weekend?
College or NFL?
Either.
I think in the NFL, it's Monday Night Football, Ravens-Lions.
Yeah, it's a good one. No question about it.
That's just a great game. Let me look at the slate again.
College isn't great.
I have an easy pick on that one. It's Illinois, Indiana.
Yeah.
Watch first-round QB prospect Fernando Mendoza against a really talented veteran defense in Illinois, but they've got a good offense with Luke Altmaier.
You got the Battle of Florida, Miami versus Florida.
Yeah, it doesn't really intrigue me that much. The NFL slate's a little iffy. I think without a question, it would either be Lions-Ravens on Monday Night Football or Eagles-Rams. 1 p.m. Eastern time kick on
Eagles-Rams is a good one.
That's a good one. It's a good one. All right, no Super Chats came in. Perfectly fine. Appreciate everybody who got their questions, who liked, comment, and if anybody subscribed on today's live show, that's much appreciated. For Coop, for Rolly, we'll see you live this upcoming Monday. Like I mentioned, we'll have videos out in between. I know it was a tough Thursday, tough first 3 weeks, but hopefully it gets better. Go Fins.